When your association or the central lock server imports your agent information, codes and settings are created for your lockboxes. These codes and settings are known as the default lockbox settings. You can use the Realtor Lockbox website to view your default lockbox settings. If you would like to edit or change your default lockbox settings, you can use the SentryCard utility to change some of these settings. If you would like to edit or change your default lockbox settings, you can use the SentryCard utility to change some of the settings. You can view your default lockbox settings by logging into the SentryCard utility or the Realtor Lockbox website. After successfully logging in, click on the Default Lockbox Settings tab on the left-hand side of the main menu. The Agent Default Lockbox Settings will appear. In the Agent Default Lockbox Settings window, you can view several different settings such as time-limited one-day code settings, call before showing settings, homeowner do not disturb settings, contractor mode settings, contractor codes, and shackle release settings. In order to better understand some of the important default lockbox settings, this portion will provide you with a brief explanation of some of the default lockbox settings. Shackle code. The shackle code can be located towards the bottom of the default lockbox settings page. This numerical code can be used by any SentryCard holder that does not have ownership permissions to the lockbox in order to release the lockbox shackle. The lockbox owner and their team members do not need a shackle code to remove the shackle from lockboxes they own or borrow. This code can be useful if an agent who owns a lockbox asks another agent that does not have ownership permissions to go to the lockbox to remove it from the listing. The lockbox owner and their team members do not need a shackle code to remove the shackle from lockboxes they own or borrow. This code can be useful if an agent who owns a lockbox asks another agent that does not have ownership permissions to go to the lockbox to remove it from the listing. Once an agent has the shackle code, they can insert their SentryCard into the lockbox, press their PIN and enter, wait for the ready light, and press function 1, the shackle code, then enter. The lockbox will emit the 5 triple beeps and the shackle will release from the lockbox. Auto reset to defaults after shackle release. The checkbox for this setting can be located toward the bottom of the default lockbox settings page. If the lockbox owner enables this feature, removing the lockbox shackle will cause the lockbox to lose any custom settings currently enabled on the lockbox. When a lockbox loses its custom settings, it reloads the settings from the default lockbox settings page. Agents may find it beneficial to reset a lockbox to their default settings when they remove it from a listing, especially if they created any custom setting that were specific to the listing and the sellers. Always require CBS code. This checkbox can be found in the Call Before Showing Settings group on the default lockbox settings page. The Call Before Showing, or CBS code, is an additional code agents may need to enter into the lockbox before they can access the key compartment. Not all lockboxes require a CBS code. If the lockbox owner checks this box, this will enable the use of CBS mode on their lockboxes. A lockbox owner may choose to use CBS mode to ensure that they know about any showings prior to the actual showing date and time. This feature may or may not be available to your lockboxes depending on what firmware version they are. Editing the default lockbox settings. If the lockbox owner would like to edit their default lockbox settings, they will need to use their SentryCard utility program and their SentryCard reader. Use the following steps to edit your default lockbox settings. 1. Log into the SentryCard utility program using your SentryCard reader. 2. Click on the Default Lockbox Settings tab on the left-hand side of the main menu. 3. Make required changes to the Agent Default Lockbox Settings page. For example, change your Call Before Showing code or check the checkbox for Auto Reset to Defaults after shackle release. 4. Click the Save Changes button at the bottom. 5. Wait for the status bar at the top of the screen to appear in green with a message saying Card Status Connected. 6. Insert your SentryCard into all of your lockboxes in order to update the settings on each lockbox. it is important to make sure you insert your Sentry card into all of your lockboxes. The changes will not take place on the lockbox until your Sentry card has been inserted into it.